Hello everyone, my name is Adriana Bora and I'm an AI policy researcher and project manager at the Future Society, and today with me is Francesca Sassetti, research analyst at WalkFree. We're very happy to be here today and present to you the work we're doing on AI against modern slavery, and particularly to present the paper on digital insights into modern slavery reporting, which presents the challenges and opportunities we've been encountered doing this project. Our work is a collaborative work between the Future Society, WalkFree, Wikirate, and Business and Human Rights Research Center. I'll pass now to Francesca to present the background of the paper.
Thank you, Adriana. The project AIMS is really about strengthening and understanding modern slavery reporting. The issue behind this is modern slavery. Modern slavery is an issue that affects every corner in the world, every country, more or less developed. And for example, one instance of modern slavery at one end of the supply chain, like for example, cotton produced with forced labor in the Xinjiang region in China, can contaminate a whole supply chain. So it is extremely important that we have legislation that can help regulate and understand transparency and also accountability of these violations. The UK Modern Slavery Act was the first national legislation to do this and to introduce reporting requirements. This means that companies with a turnover of £36 million or more have to report on their modern slavery efforts, risks, and remediation of risks and incidents. This California Supply Chain Transparency Act was another legislation in 2010, and now Australia has in 2018 implemented the Australian Modern Slavery Act as well. 5 years on since the UK legislation, there are still challenges in understanding not only who is failing to report, because there isn't a list of companies that need to be reporting, but also we don't know what is on those statements and what is the quality of reporting and what risks companies are identifying. Previous work has been by WalkFree, Business Human Rights Resource Center, and Wikirate has been to understand this, assessing the statements by developing 18 metrics from Home Office guidance. We pull the statements from the Business Human Rights Resource Center Modern Slavery Registry, and we use a citizen approach using a crowdsourcing platform, Wikirate, partnering with universities to help assess statements one by one. As you can understand, this is a very labor-intensive task, and so AIMS is a project to help us automate the assessment of the statements and using a scalable solution, as it is estimated that 12,000 to 17,000 companies are covered by the UK Modern Slavery Act. This could be just in 1 year, and now the Australian Modern Slavery Act has started compulsory reporting. So our project really is really about developing a public AI tool for automating the analysis of the statements using machine learning and natural language processing methods. What we want to achieve is really to harness the power of AI to support the achievement of SDG Target 8.7 to improve business compliance with this legislation. And as new countries implement new legislation, we also want to influence governments to strengthen supply chain transparency legislation. Our project started off by we started this project by building a large public structured data set with the statements, and we have the link to our GitHub where you can access the project. And from this initial work that we did structuring data sets, we are presenting you these findings on this paper. The next step would be to design a weak supervision tool to increase available data, and also supervised machine learning tool to assess statements. A bit of background for this paper was really, we tried to understand how AI had been used to deal with large, complex, structured and unstructured data sets. This obviously is not a new application for AI. Big data has been something widely adopted and used for a solution to really extract insight from these large structured and unstructured data sets. There are still gaps that we identify in terms of data governance and a need for a more holistic view to guide practitioners and researchers in the field. And some of the most common, I'd say, areas of application for this sort of tech is really in the medical field. Now over to Adriana to share some of the findings of this paper.
Thank you, Francesca. Indeed, we're using here Project AIMS as a real case study to illustrate common challenges and hopefully some opportunities in accessing, gathering, and structuring data, especially from text, and in our case, this being the modern slavery statements, reports, content. So we really want to start by making the point that we are aware that technology solutions can be found to deal with all the the challenges and particularities of the statements that could be in PDFs or HTML formats. But we're really trying to say here is that we believe that by establishing transparency and accessibility requirements, we really reduce the time and also the resources needed to do so we can scale up this type of solutions. So we started firstly by trying to identify the companies and the statements that are required by this law, and we know we had access to the URLs storing those statements, and then we were trying to access them in the HTML and PDF format. So out of the almost 17,000 documents we're looking at, we were able to extract around 70% of that. And the common scraping errors came from the fact that the URL were changing, or they were expired or unclear. The website structure was shifting, and therefore we couldn't connect back to that location. And also other connectivity issues that were to do with the URL structure, and as well with the server connection errors, or just the blocking of the scraping process, which is quite common. And we realized that in fact, out of those errors that we're facing, over 90% were associated with PDF. What is more, when we try to look at the formatting challenges that were making the process of scraping and structuring this text after we accessed the documents, were to do with the way in which each document was written, and there is a huge variety in which those documents can come together. And while HTML presented challenges, we really had a bit more trouble trying to structure the data from PDF. So the reason for that is that some PDFs come in scan formats. They have huge variety in formatting and how many columns they're written in, and all the different aspects that companies trying to write them to look a bit better. And also very important that they use lots of infographics. We know that, and we have here a really good example of a risk map for products that will be really easy for person to identify the bananas are at very high risk, but when you try to put that information in a meaningful way in text and use AI to understand it, it becomes really difficult. So we have all these very sub-formats of PDFs that create challenges, but also what we notice is that there are really there is a lack of alignment with reporting standard, or just general writing good reports, which means that some of the documents didn't have concrete or correctly identified sections or titles, subheading, or tagging or labeling of an image having a title and being referenced in text. All of those presented big challenges for us. However, we really want to present here the opportunities as well, and to say that while we can find technological solutions to deal with this, we really believe that by making information in the modern slavery statement more accessible and facilitating data retrieval and allowing for better comparison for companies and sectors and countries can be done by using machine readability formats. And we know that those methods that we presented in some of if we try to overcome these challenges, we can replicate this work to over 230 sustainability reporting frameworks that can give us an understanding of the non-financial reporting of companies in general. So an opportunity for that will be to really look at how we can extend the financial reporting requirements, which are to be machine readability, to the non-financial one. And this way we can really improve transparency and understand what companies are doing to address modern slavery in their supply chain, but also how they're dealing with non-financial issues and how they're reporting with that in general. So concretely, in terms of next steps, we put a list of recommendations, both for policymakers and for companies. So the first will be for governments to really have an up-to-date list of corporations or companies that are required to report under those laws, and for the companies to help the government to keep that list up to date. The second recommendation will be for the government to have a single repository where companies can add the reports and the information from those reports in machine readable format, and then for the companies to make sure that they not only publish the report on their website, but also also add that to the registry of the government. So finally, the government should really legislate and push for those requirements of making statements machine readable, and that will improve comparability and transparency, and of course for companies as well, when to take on those recommendations, to publish the reports on machine readability formats, and to follow good writing standards, to explain images in text, reference them, and really summarize them fully in text. So with this, I would like to say thank you very much, and we're welcoming your questions.